And in 9/11 related news, we have this article from the AFP on November the 29th. Senate report says, Rumsfeld decision let bin Laden escape. Osama bin Laden was within the grasp of U.S. forces in late 2001, but escaped because then Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld rejected calls for reinforcements, a hard-hitting U.S. Senate report says. It points the finger directly at Rumsfeld for turning down requests for reinforcements as bin Laden was trapped in December of 2001 in caves and tunnels in a mountainous area of eastern Afghanistan known as Tora Bora. The vast array of American military power, from sniper teams to the most mobile divisions of the Marine Corps and the Army, was kept on the sidelines, the report says. Instead, the U.S. command chose to rely on airstrikes and untrained Afghan militias to attack bin Laden and on Pakistan's loosely organized frontier corps to seal his escape routes. The decision not to deploy American forces to go after bin Laden or block his escape was made by Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld and his top commander, General Tommy Franks, the report says. On or around December 16th, 2 days after writing his will, bin Laden and an entourage of bodyguards walked unmolested out of Tora Bora and disappeared into Pakistan's unregulated tribal area. Most analysts say he is still there today. Rumsfeld's argument at the time, the report says, was that deploying too many American troops could jeopardize the mission by creating an anti-U.S. backlash among local populace. Like, we're not doing that now. The report dismisses arguments at the time from Franks, Vice President Dick Cheney, and others defending the decision and arguing that the intelligence was inconclusive about bin Laden's location. The reviews of existing literature, unclassified government records, and interviews with central participants underlying this report removes any lingering doubts and makes it clear that Osama bin Laden was within our grasp at Tora Bora.
But look what happened. Look what happened with regard to our invasion into Afghanistan. How we apparently intentionally let bin Laden get away. How we intentionally did not follow the Taliban and al-Qaeda as they were escaping up into the northeast of Afghanistan over into the Pakistani border. That was done by the previous administration because they knew very well that if they would capture al-Qaeda, there would be no justification for an invasion in Iraq.
Congressman, you think they deliberately let Osama bin Laden get away? You think they deliberately let the head of al-Qaeda get away right after the 9/11 attacks? You really believe that?
Oh, there's no question about that, because our military, the leader of the military operation in the United States, called back our military, called them back from going after the head of al-Qaeda.
Also in 9/11 related news, Jesse Ventura was on Larry King Live this week. Now, Jesse has a new show on True TV called Conspiracy Theory. It's a very good show. I watched it. I liked it. They talked about HAARP last week. This week they're going to be talking about 9/11 and the questions still surrounding that terrible event. And here's a video of Jesse talking about it on Larry King Live.
Well, in my wildest imagination, I find it very difficult that those buildings could fall at the speed of gravity without being assisted in some way. And I used to do demolition for a living. And how could those buildings fall as fast as I used to free fall out of an airplane? I mean, if you took a billiard ball and dropped at the height of the Twin Towers and you just merely stopped it and started it every floor in free fall, it would take over a minute and a half to reach the ground. The buildings were down in 10 seconds.
Now, another interesting part of that interview that Jesse Ventura did with Larry King, I'm not going to show it here, but you can see it for yourself on YouTube, is at the beginning of it, Larry King tried to get Jesse talking about the nonsense issues of the week, like about Tiger Woods and whatever happened with him and that couple that crashed the White House dinner. And other than citing some concern over Secret Service security for the president, Jesse Ventura pretty much said that he doesn't care about those issues and wanted to move on. And I thought that was very cool. So to go along with that, I have an article that was on truthdig.com on November the 30th, and it's a pretty lengthy article, so I'm not going to read the entire thing. You can find it online if you want to read the rest of it, but I'll read the first couple of paragraphs, and it's titled, Addicted to Nonsense. This is written by Chris Hedges. Will Tiger Woods finally talk to the police? Who will replace Oprah? Not that Oprah can ever be replaced, of course. And will McKay and Tariq Salahi, the couple who crashed President Barack Obama's first state dinner, command the hundreds of thousands of dollars they want for an exclusive television interview? Can Levy Johnson, father of former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin's grandson, get his wish to be a contestant on Dancing with the Stars? The chatter that passes for news, the gossip that is peddled by the windbags on the airwaves, the noise that drowns out rational discourse, and the timidity and cowardice of what is left of the newspaper industry reflect our flight into collective insanity. We stand on the cusp of one of the most seismic and disturbing dislocations in human history, one that is radically reconfiguring our economy as it is the environment, and our obsessions revolve around the trivial and the absurd. What really matters in our lives, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, the steady deterioration of the dollar, the mounting foreclosures, the climbing unemployment, the melting of the polar ice caps, and the awful reality that once the billions in stimulus money run out next year, we will be bereft and broke, doesn't fit into the cheerful, happy talk that we mainline into our brains. We are enraptured by the revels of a dying civilization. Once reality shatters the airy edifice, we will scream and yell like petulant children to be rescued, saved, and restored to comfort and complacency. There will be no shortage of demagogues, including buffoons like Sarah Palin, who will oblige. We will either wake up to face our stark new limitations, to retreat from imperial projects and discover a new simplicity, as well as a new humility, or we will stumble blindly towards catastrophe and neo-feudalism. And that's as much as I'm going to read of that now. Again, you can read the rest of it on the internet or on America20XY.com. But that reminds me of a quote by Kurt Vonnegut, one of my favorite authors, a quote that I discovered this week. And it states, "Future generations will look back on TV as the lead in the water pipes that slowly drove the Romans mad." Well, that's going to end another episode of the America 20XY Week in Review. Remember, folks, eternal vigilance is the price of freedom. God bless you, and God bless America. Good night.